Guys, thanks for watching TFBTV today. I'm Joel. I'm out here at the range, clearly freezing my butt off. I'm not sure what all this white stuff is in my my home state of Missouri here. It's like cocaine falling from the clouds or something. This is not normal. I don't know what's going on, but I'm gonna try to shoot this this TC long-range rifle for you today and see what we get. All right guys, well, as you can clearly see, I am not still out at the range in the snow freezing my butt off. It is currently 14 degrees outside, and I just don't love you that much. Sorry, not sorry. But let me go ahead and take this minute while we're inside in the warmth to talk about the rifle a little bit. And I'm gonna get outside soon, get some outside shots, and shoot this rifle a little bit more. I did have some time to shoot it, and I've shot them before, so I feel confident enough to give you some details. But right now, just too cold to be outside. So what we've got is the Thompson Center, the Performance Center long-range rifle here. It is in 6.5 Creedmoor. It has a 24-inch long barrel on it. It has the 5R rifling. Now, if you're not familiar with the 5R rifling compared to traditional lands and grooves, traditionally there's 4 or 6, and they're 90-degree angles on the lands and grooves. What they found is over the years, bullets go down the barrel, and because of those really sharp 90-degree angles on the lands and grooves, more material from the bullet ends up coming off in your lands and grooves, gets stuck in there, fouls your barrel quicker, those sorts of things. Also deforms your bullet and makes it not quite as accurate. So the 5R is nice because those edges are now at a slight angle and they're not nearly as sharp, so it doesn't deform the bullet. Therefore, accuracy increases and cleaning the barrel afterwards becomes a little bit easier. So that's the deal with the 5R. I don't know that it matters all that much to be honest, but in theory it's a really nice thing to have. So it does have the 5R rifling. We've got a 2-port muzzle brake down on the front. It seems to help. These ports are cut, perpendicular to the bore line, and so the blast from this is going straight out to the sides as opposed to back towards the shooter. Most brakes go back towards the shooter, helping to push the gun forward when you fire, minimizing felt recoil. These go straight out to the side, so they're going to help a little bit with that and help a little bit with muzzle flip and those sorts of things, but not quite as much on the recoil. So as far as fast follow-up shots, that becomes a detriment, but it is threaded. You could switch it out with a nicer brake if you wanted. So coming forward, it does ship with a Caldwell Bipod. Personally, and I'm just gonna be straight up and honest with you here, I don't like the Caldwell Bipods. There's quite a few reasons why. The first is that they have hard plastic feet on them, and it doesn't matter what surface you put those things on, they slide. They're very slippery. So when you're laying down behind a rifle and you want to press in or load into a bipod, you can't do that with these bipods because they're just too slippery. Now they are adjustable, but you've got turn dials. It's not a quick adjustment, that sort of thing. So that's a little bit of a downside to me. The other thing that's a downside is that they are hard mounted. So the chassis here has M-LOK rails attachments underneath it, but the bipod has M-LOK screws. There's no way to get this bipod off in a hurry if you want to. So I don't particularly care for the Caldwell Bipods for just those couple of reasons. Another one is that they don't lock in position. So if I go to pull this rifle backwards, the bipods will close down on me. That's kind of a bad thing, especially if you were wanting to use it in competition or anything like that. I want my bipod to stay exactly where I put it for the entire time that I want it to be there. So for me, that's a little bit of a downside. Going back, you've got your standard AR-15 style pistol grip on this rifle. So, you can change it out for a straight up vertical grip, or any other thing that fits on an AR-15 platform will work. The bolt handle is oversized, the knob is slightly oversized, easy to grab onto, easy to maneuver. You know, there's really not a lot of slop in here, which I like, so the machining seems good. Really no complaints about how the bolt moves and functions. The trigger is set from the factory, I believe, at 2.5 pounds. It's adjustable from 2.5 to 3.5. And it does have one of these little kind of safety dongles on it. I don't know what else you want to call it, but it's kind of like the safe action trigger on the Glocks. You know, the trigger won't pull unless that little tab is also pressed first. So really, that little tab has probably the first 1/2 pound of your trigger pull weight, and then the rest of the trigger pull weight is about 2 pounds. You know, most guys would consider a 2.5 pound trigger or a 2 pound trigger a pretty decent trigger. This one is very gritty. So I'm assuming it could be polished, you know, or maybe even swapped out with an aftermarket trigger. I'm not impressed with the trigger, but then, you know, I'm used to shooting these really nice competition rifles, and so the trigger wasn't great to me, but it did measure at 2.5 pounds and seems fairly consistent. So moving back then, we've got, you know, adjustability for comb height and length of pull. And on the length of pull, the butt plate actually does move side to side as well, so that you can get, you know, just perfectly positioned in your shoulder pocket. So that is a nice feature there. I did throw the Athlon Argos up on top of here, and for those of you guys who like to think of me as a rifle snob, you could probably get an idea of what I think of this rifle overall by what glass I put on top of it. But honestly, the question is not, to me, is not, you know, what are the great features of this versus something else? Because in the market now, becoming so saturated with long-range precision rifles, you know, every manufacturer is doing it. This is Thompson Center. They partnered with the Smith & Wesson Custom Shop to get this rifle done, and they've done a good job. The rifle shoots. A good friend of mine, Zach, has successfully shot this rifle out to a mile with a 6.5 Creedmoor. So it'll do the work. So that's not the question. The question is, why would I choose this rig over and above some other $1,000 to $1,500 rifle on the market? I guess the answer to that question lies in your intended purpose. All right. If you're a competition shooter looking to get into precision rifle series competition, would you choose this? The answer to me is no on that. The trigger is not good enough. Okay. The chassis is rounded all the way along on the front of the chassis. Okay, we don't want that for competition. We need something wide and flat as far as the front end chassis of our guns go, or stocks go. It just adds a lot more stability shooting off of barricades and those sorts of things. We don't want a lightweight, slim profile when it comes to competition. So is this a good choice for PRS? No, it's not. I would not choose it for that. Is it a good choice for hunting? To me, with as heavy as this is, no, you wouldn't choose this for hunting either. Not that chassis are bad for hunting purposes. It's kind of up to personal preference anymore. There's so much adjustability. I personally, you know, prefer a lighter weight stock, something like a Manners hunting stock. And perhaps you could switch that out, but to me, this package is just a little bit too heavy. Plus the bipod that attaches kind of permanently, no quick release at all to the front of here, that's going to make it hard for me to slide it in and out of a rifle scabbard when I'm trying to hunt and hunt quickly. It's just not a good hunting rifle either. So where does this shine? So this would be a great rifle for someone looking to get into long range shooting. You tend to go out and shoot targets more than you shoot animals. You don't compete. You just want to take advantage of some precision, you know, at longer distances with your 6.5 Creedmoor cartridge. This is good at that. This does that well, all right? You're gonna get decent accuracy out of this, sub MOA, out of factory ammunition. So if you hand load, you're probably gonna get 1/2 inch or better groups at 100 yards. The rifle will do it. And so therefore the consistency should be there at longer range. If you're gonna go out plinking at targets, you wanna just hear that steel ring, you know, at 600, 800, 1,000 yards, 1,200 yards, whatever it may be, this gun is a good choice for that. I think it hangs right in there with a lot of the other you know, comparable over-the-counter guns on the market, I think you'd probably be happy with it. So for me personally, I choose to put this into a pretty specific category. No hunting with it, no PRS with it. It's going to be a plinking rifle, pretty much going to stay right there. It's going to live in that space as far as I'm concerned. Guys, thanks for watching today. Hopefully that gives you a little bit more information before you run out and buy one of these, or if you choose to buy one, hopefully gives you some of the more information that you were kind of wanting. Please take a minute to check out our sponsor, Ventura Munitions. Those guys are awesome. They are very generous to us here at TFBTV, and we appreciate them. Also consider supporting us through Patreon. That is a huge help, and there's always monthly giveaways for our Patreon members. And thanks for watching, guys. Tune in again soon for another great video.